She found the emails while he was still dead. 9 days drowned. His wife read them at the kitchen table. Her hands went still. He was in a condo in Florida. Raymond Roth was 51 years old and lived in Massapequa, Long Island. He owned a company that maintained swimming pools. He had a son from his first marriage, Jonathan, 22, and a wife, Evana. Neighbors described him as quiet, unremarkable. The house was clean. The car was clean. The debts were not. By the spring of 2012, he owed more than he could see a way through. The swimming pool business was slower than it had been. The mortgage statements sat in a drawer in the home office. He did not discuss them with Evana. The year before his disappearance, Raymond Roth took out life insurance policies totaling $410,000. That number was the architecture of the plan. He also owned a condominium in Florida, bought quietly, in his name alone. By early 2012, the condo had been sitting mostly empty. Evana knew it existed in a general way. She did not know it was about to become a hideout. The insurance folder sat on the home computer, the same folder she would find 9 months later while he was still declared dead. In the weeks before July, Raymond and Jonathan exchanged emails. They used a drafts folder in a shared account, a method that, in theory, leaves no sent records. Investigators found them anyway. The emails covered logistics: which beach, what time, how long to wait before filing the missing persons report, how to divide the money. Jonathan Roth agreed to all of it. He was 22 years old. His father was 51. The plan, as written, assumed Raymond would disappear and stay disappeared. It assumed Evana would grieve and not investigate. July 28, 2012, Jones Beach, Long Island. Jonathan called 911 at 11:47 in the morning and reported his father had gone into the water and had not come back. The beach was bright and warm. The search began within the hour. Coast Guard vessels, Nassau County Marine units, divers. They searched for 4 days. They found nothing. No body, no clothing, no sign of distress at the waterline. Raymond Roth had walked out of the surf, changed his clothes in the parking lot, and driven south on the interstate before the first rescue team reached the shore. He arrived at the Florida condo that evening. The blinds were drawn. He had a prepaid phone, a duffel bag, and no plan beyond the next few weeks. He called Jonathan from the prepaid to ask how the search was going. He watched local news on a laptop with the sound low. On Long Island, Evana sat in a house full of neighbors who had brought casseroles and flowers. Her husband's name was on a missing persons bulletin on the county website. Raymond Roth watched the sun go down from a window with the lights off. He was not yet worried. Evana Roth found the emails 11 days after the disappearance. She had been looking for insurance paperwork, documents she assumed she would need to begin settling the estate. The folder was unlabeled. The subject lines were not. She read, Timeline, Phase 2, after the announcement. She opened them in order. The kitchen was silent. She could hear the refrigerator hum. She read the name of the Florida condo. She read the dollar amounts. She read her son Jonathan's name. She sat at the table for a long time. Outside, the driveway still had flowers from the neighbors. She called Nassau County Police that same night. Detectives confirmed Raymond Roth's credit card had been used at a gas station near the Florida condo on July 29th, the day after the supposed drowning. A call from a South Carolina area code had been placed to Jonathan's phone. Florida Condominium Management confirmed a Raymond Roth was the registered owner and that the unit was occupied. The lights were on. The utilities were active. Within 48 hours of Evana's call, the investigation had shifted from a drowning recovery to a fraud inquiry. Raymond Roth was officially declared alive. On August 2nd, Raymond Roth was pulled over on Interstate 26 in Santee, South Carolina, driving 90 miles per hour. The state trooper ran the name on the license. The name came back as belonging to a dead man. Raymond Roth produced his own face as the counter-argument. He was placed in handcuffs at the roadside. The car smelled of cigarettes. There was a bag in the back seat. He was heading north, back toward New York, for reasons he never satisfactorily explained to investigators. Nassau County was notified within the hour. Raymond and Jonathan Roth were charged on August 6, 2012. Insurance fraud, conspiracy, filing a false report. The cost of the 4-day search, Coast Guard vessels, Nassau County divers, Marine units, came to $36,555.37. That precise figure became the restitution order. The teams had been searching the water for a man who was making coffee in a Florida condo. Jonathan sat beside his father at the arraignment table. The table was pale wood and very clean. Jonathan did not look at Raymond during the proceedings. Jonathan Roth cooperated with prosecutors. He explained the emails, the condo, the phone calls, the timing, the plan to divide money they never collected. In March 2013, Raymond Roth stood in court in a dark suit and pleaded guilty to the conspiracy charge. He told the judge he had not been doing well mentally. He said he had fences to mend. He said his son was disgusted with him. Jonathan had already entered his own plea by then. He was sentenced to 1 year in jail. He was 23 years old. He served the full sentence. The detail that resists summary is what happened next. On the same afternoon, Raymond Roth stood in court and pleaded guilty to insurance fraud. He walked out through the courthouse doors and was arrested again. Same day. Different charges. Impersonating a police officer, following a woman to her workplace in Freeport, attempting to force her into his vehicle. He had faked his own death 8 months before. He had just admitted it in open court. He walked out of the building and made it worse. There is no clean explanation for this. The record simply states it happened. April 24, 2014. Raymond Roth was 49 years old. He stood before a judge for sentencing and received 2 years and 4 months to 7 years in state prison. The restitution order was $36,555.37. Every cent. The Coast Guard and Nassau County had spent looking for him in the water. District Attorney Kathleen Rice stated he had shown utter disregard for the law and for public safety. Raymond Roth said he had never expected to be standing there. He was led out through a door in the side wall of the courtroom. The door was heavy and gray. The insurance payout never came. The $410,000 Raymond and Jonathan had planned to collect as the proceeds of a dead man's policy was never disbursed. The scheme unraveled the afternoon Evana sat down at the keyboard. The plan had been built on an assumption that she would grieve. That grief would occupy the hours she would otherwise spend searching the hard drive. She denied the plan that assumption. She walked to the phone with cold hands and called the police. The folders sat open on the kitchen table. The kitchen was silent. She made the call. Raymond Roth is not a singular case. He is the ordinary version of a familiar calculation. What a person will attempt when the numbers stop working and the exits look sealed. The unusual element in this story is Evana Roth. She found the folder. She made the call. The plan had modeled her grief. It had not modeled her curiosity. The search teams came home. The $410,000 stayed in the insurance company's account. The question this case leaves open is worth sitting with. If your spouse staged their own death and you found the proof before anyone else, would you call the police, or would you protect your family first? If this story stayed with you, subscribe. We tell the stories they buried every week.